Numbers chapter 24, verses 1 through 10. Vayar Bilam ki tov b'nei Adonai levarech et Yisrael v'lo halach kefam b'fam likrat nechashim vayashad al hamidbar panav. And Bilam saw that it was good in the eyes of God to bless Israel, so he stopped searching for omens, all he'd been doing time and time again, unsuccessfully, but instead he set his face towards the wilderness. And what does this mean, to set his face towards the wilderness? El Hamidbar. Rashi suggests that perhaps it is looking towards the golden calf. However, in this case, the great scholar was incorrect. It has to do more with him becoming in line with God's will and following God's path, which we're about to hear in the next pasuk. Vayisav Bilam et einav vayar et Yisrael shochen lishvatav v'tehi alav ruach Elohim. And Bilam lifted up his eyes and saw Israel dwelling according to its tribes. In accordance with its tribes, they were together. And there came upon him the Spirit of God. He felt the Spirit of God. And we also can learn, what does this mean about that they were dwelling according to their tribes? It is used as a basis for sneud, for modesty, because it is taught by many scholars. It is first mentioned in the Talmud in Bava Batra 60 Aleph that they had their openings of their tent closed to others so other people could not be looking in, and it's about modesty, but it is more about turning his face to the wilderness, to the openness of God, opening up to the wild possibilities, to the infinite possibilities, opening oneself to God. Through this we are learning that how Bilam has changed his curses. Here we are in the third time that he was trying to curse the Jewish people. The first two times were wildly unsuccessful, but as Nachmanides teaches us, this third time instead he is doing something different. The Ramban explains that he planned to go through his own powers, but instead he decided to become a channel for God, that in turning his face towards the wilderness, he is experiencing that spirit of God which had come upon him. Vayisam Shalo Vayomer Neum Bilam Beno Ve'or Uneum HaGever Sheti Ha'ayin. And he took up his parable and he said, the utterances of Bilam, the son of Beor, utters the man with an open eye. And we begin the poem, the third cursing of Bilam. And we see this word Mishalo. What does this mean? It's used as a parable is what it means in English. We see it 9 times in Tanakh. 7 of them are in this portion of Balak. The other 2 times are in the story of Job. It's an interesting connection. What is the interesting hidden connection? Is it about persistence? Is it about patience? Surely the Holy One has provided some answers for us which are yet to be uncovered. We also have that he says with open eye, singular, ayin, not a naim. Why is it that he says with open eye? And Rabbi David Wolfblank Zal, quoting Rabbi Mordechai of Nishkiz, says that one eye open, that what this means is that everyone should have 2 eyes. One should have one eye to see the greatness and the glory of God, and that the other eye should be to see one's own limitations. As Dirty Harry said, a man's got to know his limitations. And that, yes, he needs to know his limitations, but Bilam, he is saying, was really not a great prophet. He had one eye to see God's greatness, but his other eye was unaware of his own personal limitations. Ne'um shomea imreel, asher machazeh shadai yachazeh nofel uglui einaim. And the utters the hearer of God speaking. He's saying that he's hearing God's words, who sees the vision of Shaddai, fallen but with open eyes. This time he is saying with 2 eyes open. And then we learn about what is this fallen. Why does it say no fell with open eyes? This no fell, this fallen. Rabbi Shmuel of Slonim teaches us that one can attain all these wonderful things of God. One can know God's will. One can see visions of God. One can see visions of the Almighty, yet still be susceptible to a catastrophic fall. And this catastrophic fall can cause by an addictive initiation of a single glance of looking away, causing one to fall and lose all of these great connections of all of these hard-won, hard-fought spiritual treasures. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. How good are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel. The way we start most Jewish services, many Jewish services are begun with this. It is printed on buildings and synagogues all over the world. And what does this line mean that we learn in the Bavli Talmud 105 bet, that the tents, what are they? They're representing the synagogues, they're representing the study halls throughout the world, that this is what these are representing. That's talking about the Jewish process of learning and of prayer. And we're about to speak, however, about a stream, about a flowing stream. How can this analogy, this allegory for a stream apply to a physical building? This is a complex confusion. How can our prayer buildings flow? And we come to an answer again with David Wolfblank bringing down these answers, that Chaim Elazar Shapira tells us that in some future time, all synagogues and study halls will meld into Jerusalem. They will move to Jerusalem and they will be flowing in that direction. They'll be flowing in that way. However, we come to another version that David Wolfblank comes up with, and he pulls down from the Holy One himself, recognizing that all of our prayers are a flow. Our prayers are a steady stream of energy, and if we're connecting with that energy, there's a flow of the prayers coming from the study halls and synagogues. We're connecting with that divine flow. We are reminded, of course, of the Baal Shem Tov, who commented at one point in time about a synagogue that had lots of prayers inside it. The members of the synagogue thought that was a great compliment. However, the Baal Shem Tov did not mean it as a compliment. The prayers were not in the flow. Did they not flow and connect with the world? They were not part of the divine connection throughout the world that they needed to be. Kinchalim nitayu kiganot ale nahar kahalim natai Adonai karazim ale mayim. And we continue on with our poetry of Bilam. Izamai midaliya v'zaro b'mayim rabim v'yarom me'agag malko v'tinaseh malchuto el motziu mimitzrayim ketoafo re'em lo yochal goyim tzariv v'atzmotehem yigarem v'chidsav yimchatz kara shacha ke'ari uchlavi miyekimenu mivarechecha varuch v'orarecha arur. They extend like streams, like gardens beside a river, like aloes planted by God, like cedars beside the water. Water will flow from its branches, his seed in many waters. Its king will rise above Agag, and his kingship exalted. God, who brought them out of Egypt, is like the horns of the wild ox for them. They will consume enemy nations, crush their bones, smash their arrows, piercing them. He crouches and lies like a lion and like a lioness. Who will wake him? Those who bless you, blessed. And those who curse you, cursed. Vayicharaf Balak el Bilam, Vayispok et kapav, Vayomer Balak el Bilam. Lakav oive karaticha, v'hine berachta varach, ze shalosh pe'amim. And Balak's anger flared at Balaam, and when he heard this blessing that was given to the Jewish people, and Balak smacked his hands together and said to Balaam, the curse of my enemies is why you were called, and here you have blessed them with blessings these 3 times. And so what do we have about this verse, this final pasuk of our reading? We learn that the word lakav, to curse them, it is the only time this word in Torah is used for curse in this portion on Balak. Everywhere else the word for curse is arur. Perhaps this is an opportunity for future study to distinguish the differences. So we summarize with whether Bilam was a true prophet or not. We wonder that, and we continue to discuss and debate. Of course, Jacob Joseph of Polnoia said that you could tell the true prophet by the scoldings. He suggests that Bilam is a false prophet because he says only positive things. A true prophet will tell you the negative as well as the positive. that it is like a true friend who tells you when you have spinach in your teeth and that you shouldn't wear that because it just doesn't match. And we finally conclude with our talking ass, who's in the middle of this parsha, the part that we skipped, and we learn from our Christian songwriter who reminds us that God spoke to Balaam through his ass and has been speaking through asses ever since. So if God should choose to speak through you, you need not think too highly of yourself. And our final lesson is from Shefa Gold, who teaches us that this parsha is about the body and the talking ass, that it's about listening to your body and that your ass is talking to you, that 3 times your ass being an allegory for your body holding you up, carrying your burden, that the ass is carrying your burden, that you need to listen to your ass, that sometimes your ass will tell you what you need to do and you just need to listen to it, that this is about the integration of the body and the spirit, that they're not separated, that you need to listen to your body and your spirit and your body needs to listen to the spirit, that they are interconnected, and that throughout this parsha we learn of the interconnection of the body and the spirit.